Hey there, folks. Now this year, more than any other year that I can think of in kokanee fishing, I've been really relying on lake trolls to catch kokanee. In fact, I've had almost as much success on lake trolls this year as I've had with dodgers. And I think a lot of that has to do with we've had some really shifty weather, a lot of pressure systems moving through, which have turned off the bite. I've also just been fishing a lot around the full moon, and it just kind of seems like in those tougher bites, the lake trolls, or gang trolls they're sometimes called, these series of rotating blades, sometimes prove a little bit more effective for kokanee. Now I own exactly 2 lake trolls. I have this Les Davis Cowbell lake troll here, which has 4 rotating large Indiana-shaped blades. This thing puts out a ton of vibration and a ton of flash. And the other lake troll I own is the Mack's Flashlight lake troll, which is just a series of plastic and reflective tape blades that rotate. Now this Mack's Flashlight has very, very little drag. It puts out very little thump. It's much more pleasant to catch kokanee on this than on the Les Davis, which thumps really hard. It's got a lot of drag. You really have to put a lot of effort in when reeling in the fish. So today I'm going to run these 2 side by side and ask the question, is it just flash, or is it flash and that thump? Because that thump's going to excite their lateral lines a lot more. I suspect these Mack's Flashlight trolls will. Behind each of these, we're going to run identical setups. We've got a 12-inch leader from the knot to the top of the lure to a kokanee cut plug. This is I can't remember the specific name, but it's one that looks like a herring with a hot pink tail on it. We'll run identical baits, and that's going to be garlic bloody tuna. And then we're going to use snap weights for both of them. We're going to set these at exactly the same depth. So I'm marking fish around 30 to 40 feet, and that's where we're going to target them today. So let's get deployed. All right, so we're going to put the Mack's Flashlight back 30 feet. Then we'll clip in, and then we'll let out another 100 feet with 3-ounce weight. That'll put me in that 30 to 40 foot range. Running identical rods and everything here, just slightly different reels. I don't think the gear ratios are basically the same on them, so I'm not too worried about it. The first thing you're going to notice right away, now that I have both deployed, that rod tip is essentially motionless on the Mack's Flashlight. That's because those blades just rotate smoothly together. They don't create a lot of thump. Whereas you look here on the tip of this Les Davis Cowbells, and that thing is, and that's those blades countering each other and creating all that wobble, a lot more disturbance down there. They're creating a lot more vibrations in the water, and those fish are going to be able to detect those with their lateral lines. So this is really kind of an interesting test because they both have substantial flash, because that has like silver and moon jelly tape on it. This has silver and reflective prism tape, but this one really has that really strong vibration component, and I'll be curious to see if it results in more fish being caught. Or maybe no fish will be caught, then I'll have to fish dodgers or do something else. I don't know. I've got some other lures, identical setups I can run behind the lake trolls if they're not into the kokanee cut plugs, but generally kokanee cut plugs behind lake trolls are a pretty good combo. Sometimes I'll run spinners or small spoons. Alright, well, we've been fishing for 30 minutes and going through a lot of fish, not getting any bites on the cut plugs. I'm going to switch up to a chartreuse and orange spinner on both of them. I've got about a 2 foot, a little bit more than 2 foot leader on them. We'll see if maybe they want a little bit longer leader off the bat. Or they may not be on a lake troll bite today. I guess we'll see. Definitely gone through at least 50, 60 fish with no bites. Usually I always run some kind of lure that has either intermediate action like a spinner, or more erratic action like the kokanee cut plugs and spoons. Oop, there's fish. Got one on the Les Davis. It's heavy. That's the thing about reeling them in on the Les Davis, though. It takes a lot of work. Well, switching to the spinners worked, I guess. Come here. There we go. Got the weight off. Alright. First kokanee of the day goes to the Cowbells. Nice. Good sized fish. That one looks like it's been netted or wrapped up before on somebody else's line. First one of the day. Oop. Right. Yep, there's one over there on the Mack too. Got one on the Macks too right now. It's still there. So as soon as the Les Davis got one, the Macks picked one up right away too. Within minutes of each other. Bringing it in on the Macks is way easier. I'm still trolling a little bit just to keep the pressure on him, but it's much easier to bring these fish in right now. Now in the past I've done experiments where I've run these flashlight trolls in front of Dodgers as the more flash rigs, or Mo flash rigs as I've called them, but I've never run a straight trial between them and another lake troll just to see if they're just as effective as a hard thumping lake troll. So I'll be really curious to see how this experiment goes as the day progresses. We're gonna do best out of 5. So far it's 1 to 1, and they hit within minutes of each other. One thing is for sure is that the fish that were on the Cowbells didn't come straight to the surface because they're fighting the drag of all those blades. Okay, let's get number 2 in the boat. He's all lassoed up. Dandy fish too. Cool. All right, 2 in the boat. He's got that around and around the head, like 10 times. Beautiful fish. Nice one. So I went about, half hour with the cut plugs out there and no bites, and then within about 15-20 minutes of switching out to the spinners with a little bit longer leader, I got 2. Wind's picking up. Oop. I think I got one on the down. It's going down. I got one just setting it back. That's funny. Woo! I was just back at about 100 feet. It was just dropping back there, and I got smacked. Always wondered about this because I know that in low light conditions, kokanee are going to, feed using both their lateral line and their vision. But I wonder if during the daylight hours, if they just sort of give up on the whole using lateral lines and just focus primarily on using forward. And focus primarily on using their vision, or they still utilize both equally. If you think about humans and how we use our senses, we will key in, especially in low light conditions, we're going to use our hearing, which is vibration. And then as we get more daylight, we're going to focus more on using our vision. It's another nice kokanee. Got him. Cool. Alright, well, we'll get this one on ice and then we'll deploy that one next first. It's a dinky little 13-incher. Okay, we'll deploy this one now. See if we get it. One on the drop back. So now it's 2 to 1 in like a matter of 15 minutes. When I was a naturalist at a jungle lodge in Central America in my early 20s, I used to take my clients out into the rainforest at night, and it's very loud in the rainforest at night. There's a lot of noise, and we used to go deep into the forest, and then I would have everybody tie bandanas over their eyes, turn off their flashlights, and sit there. And within about 15 minutes, your body really quickly adjusts and learns to your hearing becomes more acute, and you start picking up different calls from different frogs, and you can hear the bats and their echolocation clicking through as they fly through the rainforest. And it just shows how flexible even human senses are. And so I assume that fish are much the same way, that their certain senses are going to take over that are optimal. Like your brain can only process so much, right? And so it's going to utilize what's the most effective way to detect food. And so I'm assuming for kokanee in the daylight, on a bright sunny day like today in a clear lake, that's going to be vision. And then I assume in the low light hours, or even in the darkness, they might key in more on their lateral lines. And so with their lateral lines, they could be detecting other kokanee feeding on something. And so I think that's partly why they also key in on flash during the daytime, is they think it's other fish feeding. And like a lot of animals, they use social cues to determine where food is. The wire on this cowbell has gotten all bent up, so I catch these bigger kokanee on it, and they jump forward and they wrap and roll on it. Keeping my speeds between 1.4 and 1.5 today mostly. Oop, there's one on the Macks. Whew. I guess you can feel them on the Macks fighting. Can't feel anything when you have them on the cowbells. Oh, he's jumping. I don't know if that's... Oh, he might be gone. I think that might be both an advantage and a disadvantage. So having that lesser drag means that the fish can actually go to the surface and jump, and which makes it easier for them to throw the hook. But at the same time, having the increased drag on the cowbells, they can't really like run to the surface and jump, because there's just too much drag with all those blades bumping. All right, come up here, Mr. Coke. That's a nice fish. Dang. Two to 2. All right, there's another nice fish on the Macks. All right, getting the Macks flashlight redeployed, then it's just going to be a matter of who gets the last fish of the best out of 5 challenge. Whoop, never mind. There's one right there. All right. Funny how that happens. Oop, swimming towards me. I like it when they swim towards me. It takes the pressure off the blade. So far, it's pretty much just been tit for tat today. So I think one of the things that really excites me about this experiment is that I really wasn't sure what approach was better. If when using lake trolls, like I said, I only own 2. They're not something that I fish a lot. Mostly because I don't really like the drag on them. And I bought that Mack's flashlight troll last year just to do the more fish challenge at Chelan. And I haven't run it by itself that much, just because I thought, well, doesn't have that really strong thump, so it's not really going to be as productive. But I think what I like about doing these types of challenges is it really challenges my own preconceptions about what kokanee are relying on or cueing it in on in terms of triggering the bite. And I really thought that vibration might have a greater influence, but it's pretty clear to me that today it's not making any difference. And I mean, having the right lure behind it did seem to make a difference. So there's still that component. You have to pair the flashlight. Oh, nope, he's off. So you still have to pair up the right lure with the right gear. Okay, so that's fine. We're 2 for 3 on the cowbell and spinner, and we're 2 for 2 over here on the Macks. We still have to get one more. One thing that's interesting when trolling lake trolls is you still can get them to trigger on the turn even though you don't get the drop like that. There's a fish. So it's still, oh, is he off? Yeah, he feels like he's off. So turning is still just as critical as it is with dodgers. It's just that I think it's just they're following it, and then you get a course change, and they will strike like that fish did. So they're both 2 for 3 now. Like I said, it seems just to be tit for tat. There's no pattern here. I think I might have picked up one on that turn there. Kind of looks like it. Yep, I did. It's always been on the inside drop today, which tells me they're running probably a little bit deeper than I'm running. Like I hit on the inside turn on the Macks as well. Well, he got me tangled up in the other lines. I'm gonna have to hand line this kokanee in. He swam over into the other line. Whoa, that is a huge kokanee. That's why he swam over there. I don't think I've ever had to hand line a kokanee in, but there we go. Yeah, he swam over and got me wrapped in the Max line. Which is a good thing it's the last fish of the day, because that's a mess that he made. Cool. So that ends up being 3 for 5 on the Les Davis Cowbells versus I think 2 for 3 out of the Max flashlight. So not a huge difference between the two. Like I said, it was basically tit for tat there for most of the day. You can see it's a nice fish. Thick body on it. Alright, I'm going to get these guys bled. Bonked and bled. I'll put links to all of the tackle I used today. Like I said, I started off with the cut plugs, didn't have much luck. Then I have the Max flashlight and like a moon jelly. And then I have the Cowbells here, which is just their normal like silver and chrome. And then I ended up running some chartreuse and orange Paulina Peak spinners that I retied onto longer leaders behind them. So anyways, I'll put links down below. If you purchase through those links, it does help out this channel. Be curious to see if you're going to add lake trolls to your arsenal after today and which one it will be. Anyways, I will see you next time. Just remember, fish smarter, not harder. Bye, guys.